Am I audible? So let's begin. Good evening, all. I am Dr. Shilpa, consultant cosmetologist at Lethia. So before we begin with hair transplantation consultation or hair treatment consultation, I want to give you a small brief regarding what is Lethia. Le is a French word and Thea is a Greek word that denotes goddess. And Lethia was founded in 2018 in Madurai. And it is a southern premier aesthetic clinic which started with hair and now have hair and slimming treatments under same roof. So our ethics is very simple to provide people at a very minimal cost. And by 2025, our aim is to provide our treatment to the whole southern India. So let's begin with the section. What is hair loss? Hair loss occurs when the old hair is pushed out from the follicle and new hair that should have replaced the old hair is not replacing it. So on a daily basis, we might be seeing it. Okay, there will be 100 to 150 hairs falling off. That is absolutely fine, which is a normal process. But if the hair loss occurs that is more than 150, then the condition is not that simple. You should definitely consult a doctor. So this condition is called as alopecia. Alopecia. There are different types of alopecia. So we'll be going through one by one. One is involution alopecia. It is a type in which there is natural thinning of hair which occurs with our age. But that is an aging process that is happening in our body. Second one is alopecia areata. That is a sudden patchy loss of hair that occurs due to an autoimmune disease. So it is an autoimmune disease condition which can be easily identified by seeing the patch. So this patch occurs as a circular or coin-shaped patch. And the loss will be in a bundle or bunch of hairs will be fallen off. Okay. The third one is alopecia universalis. Alopecia universalis can be explained very easily with the word itself, universalis, where the whole body hair will be fallen off. Okay. The fourth one is trichotillomania. Trichotillomania is actually a psychological condition where the patient or the person, him or herself, will be pulling the hair out. And the treatment is counseling or other misinterruption in between. Then comes telogen effluvium. Telogen effluvium. Before explaining what is telogen effluvium, I'll explain to you what is a hair cycle. Okay, so hair cycle, there are three phases. One is anagen phase, second one is catagen phase, and the third one is telogen phase. So anagen is the active phase where the hair growth and all happens. Catagen phase is a transition from anagen to telogen. And the telogen phase is the resting phase for the hair follicle, and this old hair which has passed through anagen and catagen phase will be fallen off. Okay, I hope you understood. So telogen effluvium is a temporary hair thinning that occurs when a large number of hair follicles directly enters into the telogen phase at the same time. Okay. So the last one is androgenic alopecia. Androgenic alopecia can be easily explained with two words: male and female pattern of hair loss. Okay, so androgenic alopecia can be categorized into two: male and female pattern of hair loss. So what is male pattern of hair loss? How will we identify it? Male pattern of hair loss is very easy to identify because it starts within very young age. By late teenage or by early 20s it will start. And the appearance will be mainly the hair loss occurs in the frontal and in the crown region. And with age, what happens? These two fuse together. And by age, it will appears like a horseshoe. So this is the condition. Then comes the female pattern of hair loss. Female pattern of hair loss, which is usually seen in 40 plus age group, early 40s or late 30s. And in this condition, there will be a generalized hair loss or hair thinning. That is the classic symptom. And mainly on the crown region, there will be specific thinning. Okay, this is the types of hair loss or alopecia. Then we'll go into the causes, how, why it is happening. So there are a wide variety of reasons why there is like how it occurs or why it occurs. So first thing is hormones. Mainly in females, when there is menopause, pregnancy or menstrual cycles, this time there is a rush of hormones which can lead to hair loss. Even genes act as a what happens is, when we say male pattern of hair loss, then it can be due to genetic. Then stress, environmental conditions, pollution, water, all this matters. Certain illness act as a trigger agents, especially in thyroid, hypothyroidism, or anemia, iron deficiency anemia. All these conditions also matters. And it can occur as a side effect of certain drugs. Or autoimmune disease, I have already discussed about it. Alopecia areata is due to autoimmune disease. Even burns, injuries or x-rays can also lead to hair loss. Then the most important, which we always forget about it, is cosmetic procedures. Certain cosmetic procedure where we give excess heat to our hair, or certain chemicals what we use, can also lead to hair fall. So all these are reasons for hair fall. So then next is treatment options. So depending upon the type of alopecia, there will be different type of treatments. So the most important factor is to identify the condition of the patient, how it occurs or why it is occurring. And treating the cause is more important than to prevent the recurrence of the disease. Because if the treatment, I am treating you for hair loss and the hair loss stops, but if we haven't treated the cause, how or why it occurred, if it is due to thyroid, if you are not treating the thyroid, then this can recur. So to identify the cause is very important. Okay, so treatment options varies with invasive and non-invasive procedures. Invasive procedures are mainly two types. One is hair transplantation and the second option is PRP. Many people might know about all these things, but still I'll give you a brief idea about how all these things works. And non-invasive procedures are the medicines which we intake, or the sprays or serums or something which we apply onto our hair. So we'll discuss about the invasive procedures. First one is hair transplantation. Okay, so hair transplantation is a minimally invasive procedure where the hair follicle is transplanted from the donor area to the bald area. So now you may have a doubt in mind, what is this donor area? So donor area is the area of hair which is not affected by dihydrotestosterone. It will not react to this hormone. So this donor area, we can easily identify it. It occurs in this area, earlobe to 1 earlobe. This is your donor area. So we will be taking the hair from the donor area and will be implanting into wherever it is in the bald area. Okay, so how will we know that are we the right candidate for a treatment? A hair transplantation, when it comes to hair transplantation, how we will know that we are the right candidate? So I'll give you a very simple tips to identify how to know about it. One thing is, if other treatments are not working for you, then you can go for hair transplantation. One thing. Second is, if you have male pattern of baldness, which is due to heredity or genes, then you can go for hair transplantation. Third, if you have lost your hair due to trauma or burns, then you can go for hair transplantation. Then the last one is, that is the most important part. Your scalp should be healthy and you should have adequate donor area. That is more important. If you have baldness from here to here and you don't have a donor area sufficient to cover this area, then the surgery is of no use. So all these requirements should be there. So then we'll go into the techniques. What are the techniques of hair transplantation? There are mainly two types of techniques which are followed. One is extraction of follicular unit, that is FUE, follicular unit extraction. And the second one is FUT, where follicular unit transplantation. I'll explain to you the difference between both this. Okay, so we'll start with FUT. FUT is follicular unit transplantation. In follicular unit transplantation, a strip of hair, will be taken from the donor area in a linear manner, and once it is taken out from the donor area, the hairs are plucked from it and it is implanted into the bald areas. Okay. So what are the disadvantages or cons? So the first disadvantage is there will be a linear scar. Okay. And there will be discomfort during the healing process. And the third one is you can take hair only from the donor area. Okay, hope you understood. So now we will go into the FUE technique. FUE technique is usually followed, nowadays it is followed. So in this FUE technique, only the follicle is extracting from the donor area. So I'll explain to you in a very simple way. If you have 100 hairs, then 10 hairs will be taken from them. And that too in a zigzag or irregular manner. So that when the hair grows, this old existing hairs will cover the patches or patch, there will be definitely patches which is small circular, which will get covered with the old existing hairs. So that is the difference. In one there will be linear scar, in the other one there will be small circular patches which will get covered with the old existing hairs. So in FUE technique, that is a follicular extraction, unit extraction technique, this donor area what we have follicles what we have extracted from the donor area is implanted into the front area. So what are the advantages? One thing I have already told, there will be very minute scars which will get covered with the hair. Second thing is downtime is very less. Since it is a very minute holes which is punches will be 0.5 to 0.75. So it was very easy to get from it, and the scars will be very simple or small. So it will heal up properly, and the healing time is maximum 3 to 4 days. So that is it. Then the discomfort during the healing process is very less when compared to the linear method. So now I will explain to you the procedure of FUE technique which we follow in our clinic. Okay, so when the patient comes, foremost important thing is clinical history. I have told you already that we should know the causes of the treatment, why this occurred. So proper clinical history is most important. Then the scalp examination. There are new advanced machines to know the density, to know whether there is how much hairs in anagen phase, catagen phase and telogen phase, and all these things can be identified. Then the planning. Planning is like the patient should be free and there is 3 days of downtime, and all these things accordingly we'll plan. Then the initial counseling regarding all the aspects of the surgery. So how the surgery is going to be. Surgery is done under local anesthesia. Local anesthetic solution is injected only into the particular area of surgery. So you will be fully conscious. Okay. Then before starting the surgery, hair line is drawn. Once the hair line is drawn, patient can check whether it is okay for the patient. Okay. Then the rest of the places are marked. If you have thinning in the crown area or if you have loss of hair in this area, we can fill this up. Okay. Once all these are done, slits are made according to the natural angulation and direction of the hair. Then only the new hairs which is going to come will suit you properly. Okay. Once all these things are done, grafts are extracted from the donor area and is placed into the bald areas. Okay. So we have taken hair from the donor area, right? So this area there will be little wound. So this will be covered with a bandage for 3 days just to make sure that you won't get any infection, and you will be given antibiotic. And the 10th day, till 10 days there is no hair wash. But by 6 to 10 days you can do the hair wash. Okay. And the most common question which I usually hear is that when will I get the growth? So I will give you the explanation for that also. There will be temporary hair shedding which starts from 3rd to 4th week and can exist till 3rd month. Okay. So now the growth starts after this hair shedding. That is by 4th month there will be growth, and it may complete up to 8 to 12 months. That depends upon person to person. Hope you all understood. Okay. So now we will go into the next invasive procedure, that is PRP. Okay, so what is PRP? Platelet rich plasma. It is a blood plasma that contains enriched with platelets, and this contains growth factors and cytokines. In very simple way, blood is taken and it is centrifuged. So once the centrifugation is done, what happens is the particle with the higher weight or molecular weight will settle down and the rest will come up. So this particle which comes up is rich in plasma that contains growth factors and cytokines simply. Okay, so what is the mechanism? What it is giving or what happening inside? There will be tissue repair, capillary formation, that is blood supply increases, normalization of follicular unit, and if some dormant stem cells are there, that will get woke up. And what are the uses? One thing is, if it is after your surgery, hair transplantation, we can inject it into the donor area, so the wound healing will be increased, reduce the chance of inflammation or infection, reduce the chance if there is any kind of chance for scars or scar formation, then improves the site of healing by increasing the growth. And in case of normal hairs, as I have already told, it normalizes the follicular unit, it provides capillary production, and it will help in thickness of the hair or increases the growth rate. Okay, so now we will discuss on how this is done, the method. Okay, method is very simple. In PRP, we will be withdrawing the blood. Once this is withdrawn, it will be transferred into the test tube. And this test tube is placed in a centrifuging machine. And it will get centrifuged. Once this is fully centrifuged, there are 3 layers formed. The downmost layer is the RBC. RBC having a higher particle size, it will sediment down. And next is platelet rich plasma. And the uppermost one is platelet poor plasma. And this will be injected into the scalp. So this is the technique. Hope you all understood. Okay. Then comes, we will be discussing on other problems associated with the hair. What are the other problems? Mainly head lice or even dandruff, thinning, volume reduction, and all these things. So we will start with lice. These are very tiny insects which usually feed on the blood from human scalp. So what are the symptoms associated with it? One thing is, there will be loose bites from them, so we will get irritated or itching due to allergic reaction of this loose bites. And this lice will be visible on the scalp. Their eggs, which is called as nits, will be on the hair shaft. And the most complicated part is, scratching can lead to small red bumps which may get infected and can form into sores. So that is the complication with lice. So what is the diagnosis? How will we diagnose it? Diagnosis is with a specialized light called as Wood's light, and it is used to diagnose nits specifically, which will appear bluish in color. Otherwise also we can see it with our naked eyes. So what is the treatment? Lithia provides organic treatment for lice in nits. Treatment is a single section treatment and the duration which may vary from 6 to 8 hours. That depends upon the condition of the patient. So this gives a complete single day solution, which is a permanent solution for your issue. Okay. So next we'll go into dandruff. Dandruff is actually a chronic scalp condition which is characterized by itching and flaking of the skin of scalp. We'll be having itching, and once we done this itching and rubbing of the skin, what happens is scalp will flake out. And it can also be seen in ear, face, chest or fold of the skin and all these areas. And what are the symptoms? How will appear? Everybody knows about all these things. It appears like a white, oily looking dead skin. White, oily looking dead skin with there will be itchiness to the scalp. And in some cases there is greasy patches of skin also. It is like looking like a greasy patches of skin which may fall into your dress or even it is little embarrassing. So the reason how this happens. Faster the cell growth rate. How fast the cell growth happens, there the old cells will be pushed out. So this is one reason. Second one is, if your skin is exposed to extreme temperature, there can be dandruff. Third one is, there will be some underlying illness, can be scalp diseases or something like that, or other conditions. For this one also, we provide permanent solution with high frequency treatment, and we'll be using our quality organic products. So with this, you will get a complete cure in a single day section. That is a permanent solution. This will also, the timing will vary depending upon the intensity or how intense the dandruff is. Okay. So the last section is thinning of hair or volume reduction. It is actually refers to a mild to moderate hair loss which gradually occurs over a period of time. And this is, there can be another reason of changing your hair in texture. So what all can be the cause? As we have already discussed, thyroid disease, anemia, protein deficiency or chemotherapy, low vitamin levels, all this can be the reason. For this, mainly we can go with invasive procedures and non-invasive procedures. But invasive procedures like PRP will take 3 to 4 sections to show you some results. But non-invasive procedure, as a non-invasive procedure, we have a treatment section in which a cream is used which is manufactured by Lethera. It helps in increasing the density of your hair, which will last for 8 to 10 months. And once this 8 to 10 months are over, you need to repeat the section. So that is about hair thinning. Hope we have discussed on all the treatments and treatment options. So I'll give you a brief idea once again regarding the hair transplantation, as many of you have joined very later. So hair transplantation is a minimally invasive procedure where the hair follicle is taken from the donor area and it is transplanted into the bald area. Okay, mainly two techniques. One is FUE and FUT, where FU is the usually followed technique in which we will be giving a clinical history. We will be taking a clinical history, then followed by scalp examination with the help of machines. Then we'll be planning according to your convenient date. Then initial counseling regarding all the aspects. That is how the surgery is, how you should take care of the surgery, after the surgery and everything. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'll slow down. I was speaking regarding the procedure of FUE technique. So the procedure is, first thing is clinical history. Second one is scalp examination, where we will be using specific machines which we can see the hair follicles and hairs. Even we can see how the hair splits and all these things. Then the third one is planning. That depending upon the convenience of the patient, will be planned accordingly. Then the third one is initial counseling. The counseling is definitely regarding all the aspects of surgery. What all you should do before the surgery and definitely after the surgery. Then the fourth one is hairline drawing. Hairline drawing is till where you will be having hair. This is the hairline. So this one we'll show and we'll draw it and show it to you. So if you want any changes, then it's like some people might need a M shape or some may need a V. So all these things, V or U, whatever it is, we can do it. So then marking of other areas. What are these other areas? Other areas includes, if you have thinning in this area, if you need a filling, you have hair, but there is thinning. So in that condition, we can do a filling to show some density. So that can also be done. So all these things are marked, and once you approve it, then we'll go with the surgery. So surgery, it is mainly 3 parts. First one is slits are made according to the natural angulation and direction of hair. That is to show that the hair which is going to grow up will look natural. Second one is grafts are taken from the donor area and then implanted into the bald areas. Hope you understood about it. And as we have already discussed, post-operative 3rd day bandage removal is there. 6 to 10 days, within 6 to 10 days, you can do the hair wash. Okay. So, at the time of hair wash, it will appear as if we have done a shaving, and once the hair grows after it, it will be like those small hairs. This will look exactly like it. So you can identify the result of it on that day itself. On the 10th day, when you do the hair wash, you can identify that how much you got the result. Like I'm telling about a very 50% of result. Rest it will grow and cover up. Okay. So once the 10th day hair wash is done, and there will be temporary shedding of this implanted hairs. These implanted hairs will shed off or fall off from 3rd to 4th week. That is by almost after a month of surgery. This will fall off till 3 months. There will be complete. Some people there will be complete fall off, or some people there will be irregular. That depends. And growth starts from 4th month, and it will take 8 to 12 months to complete. And this, why I am telling this range is because for some people it may take 8 months and some people it may take 12. So this happens. And post-operative care is for minimum 3 days. You can take rest. It is because since local anesthetic solution is injected, it should get excreted out. So for that, we need to take sufficient amount of water. So one thing. Second thing is, you should not take too much of weight when we do take weight or when we do exercise, there will be sweating, which can affect the growth. Okay, so nothing much, just a very few things. Then antibiotics and painkiller will be prescribed, which you can follow accordingly, just to prevent that you won't be having any infection. As this area where we will be covering the hair is not covered, should take care just to make sure you won't get any infection. And on the back side, on the donor area, which will be fully covered, so that area, by third day, bandage will be removed and the medicine will be applied over it. It's a gel based cream which is applied over it. That's it. Hope you got understood regarding all these things. Do you have any doubts? So Vijay asks, what is the post care for hair PRP? See, once PRP is done, on the same day, you should not take bath. Okay, one thing. And second thing is, avoid using any cosmetic products that contain sulfates on the 2 or 3 days after it. That is more than enough. Nothing much to take care after a PRP section, because PRP is a very minimally invasive procedure. Will PRP be painful? That depends upon the patient. But what we do is, we'll be doing the PRP along with the vibrator. So it will be much less painful than when you do the PRP alone. And definitely we'll be applying the local anesthetic solution. So you won't be having much pain. Don't worry about it. Any other doubts? Yes, definitely. Angan Vino. Hair transplantation provides us a permanent solution. Definitely hair transplantation is a permanent solution. And you need to maintain it for till the time when you get the full hair growth. You need to be a little careful, that's it. Because till 1 month, you should not wear the helmet continuously. I'm not saying no to a helmet, but to be like on a safer side, you can reduce the use. Like for 5 to 10, 15 minutes you can wear it, but not continuously for a time. So that's it. And it will give you a permanent result, because since the hair is our own, there won't be any rejection. Okay, so it will definitely get implanted. And density is depending upon how you take care of it. Even after the surgery, you need to do PRP sections to boost the growth and all. Kannan, any side effects in hair transplant and PRP? Hair transplantation, one thing is, in both this, we'll be using our own, even in PRP it is our own blood, and in hair transplantation it is our hair only. So there is no side effect as of the procedure. But in hair transplantation, we'll be injecting the local anesthetic solution. I hope I have already told this. This local anesthetic solution should get excreted out. Okay, for that, you should take minimum 3 to 4 liters of water per day, so that it will excrete it through your urine. No other side effects. Definitely there will be pain in PRP, that's it. Nothing more. Hope you understood. Kannan, you got it? Can a diabetic patient go for hair transplantation or PRP? If yes, how successive? A diabetic patient can go for hair transplantation and PRP only if the diabetic is under control. or if you are taking medication, you can go for the surgery. If it is not under control, first you need to take the medicines and then you can go for the surgery. And if you are going for the surgery, if it is under control, then definitely it will give you 100% results. How many sections of PRP is required? So that depends on how your hair is reacting to it. Like if you are having heavy hair fall, minimum 3 sections is required to see the results or stop the hair fall. And once the hair fall is stopped, then what we do next is to boost the boost the hair growth. Okay, so that depends. Minimum I'll suggest to take 6 sections so that you will get the coverage. 3 sections to stop the hair fall and the next 3 will be for thickness of the hair. Lies in it's a permanent solution. How many sections? It is a single section procedure where in one section we will be doing the whole procedure and it will take 6 to 8 hours. That is the only thing. You should be free for the whole day. And you will get complete coverage. Don't worry. Angan, hope you understood. To be more clear, I need to see the patient and then we can tell. Age limit for PRP and hair transplantation, 18 plus we can go for the treatment because this male pattern of baldness and all these things are seen in the late teenage to early 20s. If we can go like on that time itself, then the results will be much better. Hope you understood. Thank you so much. What is the average range cost for hair transplantation? That depends. That depends on the requirement of the patient. Like how much grafts you required. In certain patients, there will be just a requirement of hairline or just for crown area, or in some cases it will range from this to this. So that depends. Anyway, if you need to know much about the costing, you can consult our clinic. Visit our clinic and I will give you a detailed explanation about it. Is that okay, Arjun? So should I explain anything again, like types or PRP or hair transplantation or any other treatments? If you want me to explain again, I'll give you the explanation. Definitely beard transplantation can be done. So sorry, one thing I've missed in between. In FUE technique, which we follow in our clinic, see, if you don't have sufficient donor area, some people may not have sufficient donor area here. Okay, so in such cases, what we can do is, we can take beard as a donor area, or even your chest hair or back hair can be used as a donor area. So this can be used and placed into your bald areas. Suresh, thank you so much for the question. Beard transplantation, definitely we do, but I need to check your hair first, and then we can do it accordingly. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kannan. Thank you. In case of any doubt, in our Facebook page itself, we have given our number and details. You can definitely contact us. We'll explain everything, and then we can go with the procedure. Or if you need any consultation, you can give us a call. We'll give that consultation also. Okay. Once again, do you want me to explain anything? Transplantation or PRP? I hope many people have doubt regarding transplantation and PRP. If you want me to tell about anything, then I'll explain once again. Do you want me to? So can we end the section? Our location and our details, even phone number, everything is included in our Facebook page. Please do check that out. Okay, in case of any doubt, many people have asked regarding the beard transplantation, hair transplantation cost and other things. Please give us a call. We'll explain everything in person. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.